Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about one of the areas, real life areas, that's probably one of the most misunderstood and ineffectively used area or concept when it comes to actually dealing with people from a personal training perspective. And this is the behavioral change materials. And ACE actually does a really good job. And in chapter 3, they give you some really good information when it comes to what are known as the stages of change, or the TTM, trans theoretical model. It's not necessary to scratch too far below the surface. Ace actually does a good job, and I'm in chapter 3, page 71 right now, 70, 71, 72. They do a really good job of kind of giving you the necessary information that you could use when navigating through sort of the normal everyday processes of dealing with clients or dealing with individuals that are prospective clients. Remember, you don't just have people walking up to you. If you do, tell us how you're doing that. But generally, you're going out and seeking clients, or people are asking you questions, perhaps, and you need to navigate their relational situation enough to perhaps get them to consider training with you. And that's what a lot of this behavioral change material is designed for. There are times when you need this skill set with people that don't train with you, that you're trying to help and assist to at least consider making lifestyle changes, right? Folks you would never charge money for, like family and friends. But it's also necessary once you do get clients and you're actually working with them to help them and navigate them through these different quote stages of change. Now, the reality is that the TTM, or the trans theoretical model, has five different, well, it has six, depends on who you talk to, right? You got pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance. There is a sixth one if you depends on who you talk to. It's not really relevant for us. But sort of this sort of end stage of stabilization stage that would be after maintenance. Again, for us, our biggest interest, to be honest with you, when it comes to dealing with individuals that are potentially going to train with us, people that are actually in the health club training, and you're just looking to see if they'll train with you as a client. They're not in pre-contemplation. They're probably not in contemplation. They could be in preparation, then maybe perhaps even action. Don't be fooled just because a person's in the gym thinking they're in the action stage. If that's their first day in the gym, you don't know if they're going to be there in 3 days. They were never truly in the action stage. Remember, this is psychological. The TTM is based on mental constructs, psychological constructs, not in just behaviors. Somebody comes in, they're still in preparation, they're messing around in the gym or kind of looking at things, but they're still psychologically preparing themselves. Yet you see them in the gym, you think they're in the action stage. That's probably that may not be the case. Don't want to get off track. The point is that NASM does a good job of explaining to you about trans theoretical model, but they give you something that you're not going to find in a lot of other either certifications or in other areas in the fitness industry, and that's called the processes of change. Okay, within a TTM. So within a TTM, you've got the stages of change themselves, processes of change, self-efficacy, decisional balance. This idea of processes of change is really critically important. And so they do a really good job of explaining it to you. And they even say it on page 71. This second component, the processes of change, is likely the most important, and it probably is. Understanding the different stages, right? That's good. That's sort of cursory information. Understand it well enough to understand kind of what it looks like to move from one to the other. And even that's not the easiest thing to do, but it's most likely the processes are important for trainers to understand, because it entails the processes that people use to move through the stages. We want people moving ultimately from the action stage into maintenance, and to continue for the rest of their lives with the appropriate behavioral characteristics that we see in healthy, fit, well people generally. Each stage transition has a unique set of processes and is based on specific individual decisions, mental states, right? Readiness, motivation, and there's no correct way to progress. And that's why table 3-1, the stages themselves are important. So they give you the stage, what it looks like, the traits, what is the goal with somebody in this stage, and then what are the strategies. See, just knowing, and I remember I used to teach this years ago, was just the stages. So this is what somebody looks like in pre-contemplation. This is action. I didn't really care about people in pre-contemplation or contemplation. Even so much the preparation, I was interested in people that were in the action stage, were already doing it. And those are the people that I would go and talk to. Hey, I can get you better results, help you lose weight, yada, yada, yada. So it was easy. But in today's world, where a lot of folks are just kind of, they're in contemplation and preparation, it requires a more subtle, right, skill set to talk to people in these other stages that are further removed from the action and maintenance stage. And that's what they're giving you here in table 3-1. You can read I'm not going to read the strategies to you, but it is an important table to look at and try and understand it really well, these strategies, because they could make the difference. Somebody that's in pre-contemplation, what we now know is that people in pre-contemplation are not just, the guy that smokes cigarettes and says, oh, screw it, I could care less about my health, whatever. Yeah, that guy's in pre-contemplation, don't get me wrong. But there's other folks in pre-contemplation that are almost teetering on contemplation, right? And it's a gray, nebulous area. It's not cut and dry. And so you never know. You might be talking to somebody and they're sort of teetering on the edge. And you could say one thing, use one of these strategies and boop, tip them. Again, psychological constructs, tip them into that contemplative stage. That's a key. That is a key change. Moving from pre-contemplation to contemplation is a key change. Now you got something you can work with. Contemplation, right? Again, you got these three things they talk about. Preparation, go through those strategies. Here's what I have found is that when students try to actually understand these strategies, it's not that difficult to memorize them. So on a test question, which is really what's most important right now for you, watching his videos, you need to pass the exam, because you can always go back and learn these materials for real world application. But try and really understand what those strategies are. You'd be amazed. They become easier to remember because this should be of extreme interest to you when it comes to actually being in the world of personal training. So the main part of this from the video perspective is to get to the processes of change, and that is table 3-2. Let me go back and read it to you again. The second component, processes of change, is likely the most important. This is the real world. So take a look at some of these processes of change and their descriptions. Consciousness raising, finding and learning new facts, ideas, and tips that support healthy behavior change, all the way down to social liberation, taking advantage of opportunities to be with people who model the new behavior, right? The people that are working out, eating well, things like that. Noticing the social norms that reinforce the new behavior, really important. Then, of course, on page 74, 75, they give you a mover method box with the ABC approach. You can read through that. But here's what I would recommend. Again, this is a sort of real world scenario that I would be thinking about, right, for you, which is look at these processes of change, read through this one section. It could be very, very helpful, and then kind of um, look at the situation they give you in this one box, and put some time into it. Try and understand what it is that they're going over with the processes of change in their description. And I'm not going to guarantee it, but I will say this: it's going to help you a whole lot when you get out there and you're actually starting working with clients. So if you have any questions, you can just let us know. By the way, if this made sense, this video was understanding, made sense to you, write the word understand. I had to think through through that phrase I was saying. So just write the word understand in the comment section below. Please let us know how we can be of assistance to you. We want you to pass this exam first shot. Okay. Remember, if you have not done so, subscribe to our channel. Give the old like button. Write comments in the comment section below. Share the video if you want as well. But more than anything else, let us know how we can be of assistance. Have a great week. We will see you next week. Take care.